Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on, well, something pretty fundamental, using a journal, specifically a good notebook, to really crank up your productivity.
Yeah, and we're digging into what we've learned from Lestallion, looking at their specific journal designs, like the one initially aimed at photographers, but also just the general idea of productivity journaling they discuss.
Exactly. The mission today is pretty straightforward.
Mm,
Figure out how a really well thought out journal can help you, the listener, get more organized, stay focused, and just generally be more productive. Less frazzled, maybe.
definitely less frazzle. We want to see how it becomes a strategic tool, not just a place for random notes.
Because, look, we know many of you have probably tried, all the apps, the digital stuff. Maybe just grab any old notebook.
Right, and maybe it just didn't quite click. It felt overwhelming or, I don't know, disconnected somehow.
So this is about exploring that tangible alternative. And we've talked about Lestallion before. They're known for quality journals. Today, it's about why their specific features are, well, pretty useful for boosting productivity.
Okay, let's dive in. The big challenge we hear about, and honestly feel sometimes, is just being swamped.
Oh, yeah. Thoughts flying everywhere, deadlines popping up.
Feeling totally overwhelmed by everything you need to track. It's like juggling smoke sometimes.
Ah, yeah, good analogy. And that's exactly where grabbing a physical journal can be such a grounding thing.
Like a command center for your brain.
Kind of. A place to deliberately dump all that mental clutter. Turn the chaos into something clear, a roadmap.
Yeah, and Lestallion mentions this, even in their photography context, saying, without a structured journal, it's easy to forget the details. And that's true for any project, right?
Absolutely. Not just photos. Think about your work, your personal goals. How often do those tiny but vital details just vanish?
And a journal gives you that structure to capture them, revisit them, avoid that, oh, I wish I'd remembered that feeling.
So it's more than just blank pages then. The actual journal matters.
Precisely. The quality, the features, they really influence how well it works as a productivity tool. And that seems to be Lestallion's whole approach, intentional design.
Okay, so let's talk specifics. We know they have, what, 211 numbered pages? That's a lot of space.
It is. Plenty of room. And the paper, that 120 GSM thickness, that's noticeable.
Right. We've mentioned that before. It feels good to write on. And crucially, no annoying ink bleed through. You can use your favorite pen.
Exactly. Which actually encourages you to use it more consistently, makes the whole experience nicer.
And the cover? Soft faux leather, looks professional, feels durable. Plus, the A5 size is, well, practical. Not too big, not too small.
Right. Easy to carry around. So these details add up. Lots of space for planning, a good writing experience, and it's built to last and go with you. It makes it a reliable tool.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What specific Lestallion features really boost productivity? How do they work?
Well, two things jump out immediately. The built-in table of contents and those numbered pages. Seems simple, but it's a framework for organization.
Yeah, finding stuff later is key if you're juggling different projects or goals in one notebook.
You need to locate specific notes quickly. No endless flipping or trying to remember where you wrote that thing down. It's efficient.
It's like your own personal analog database index. And they have that back pocket too. I always find those useful for loose scraps.
Me too. It's perfect for, sticky notes, maybe a printout you need for planning later, business cards even. Keeps those little important bits from getting lost before you properly log them.
Okay, and we've also heard about the line spacing 7.5 millimeter wide lines, and those dashed lines people seem to like Aaron's story we discussed.
Yeah, the dash lines are interesting. The standard wide lines give you clarity for writing, obviously. But the dashes offer flexibility. Well, you can still write neatly, but it also makes it easier to, say, sketch out a diagram or a mind map or just visually separate ideas right there on the page. It caters to different ways of thinking.
Right, not just linear text.
Exactly. I actually have a friend, Alex, a project manager. He was totally drowning in digital tools, multiple projects, things falling through the cracks.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So he started using a Lestallion journal, physically writing tasks down, using the numbered pages and the table of contents, and help him prioritize, actually see the
Yeah,
progress.
something a bit more concrete.
Totally. And he's specifically mentioned using the dashed lines during a brainstorming session to sketch out a rough project timeline next to his notes. Said it helped him visualize the flow much better than just typing bullet points.
That's a great practical example. So, okay, let's talk roadblocks. We all hit them. Distractions, time slipping away, losing motivation. How does the journal help there?
Let's take inconsistency first. Making journaling a habit is tough for lots of people.
Definitely. Feels like another chore sometimes.
The advice often is, start small. Don't pressure yourself. Just jotting down, say, your top 3 priorities for the day. That alone can be powerful.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. And maybe, stick a little reminder card in that back pocket, a prompt, like what's the one thing I need to achieve today? Just a little nudge.
Okay, what about feeling directionless, like you don't have clear goals?
That's where those numbered pages really shine again. You could dedicate a whole section, maybe pages 10 to 20, just for your big goals. Break them down, track steps.
And you can easily flip back to it.
Right. It's a constant visual reminder of what you're aiming for. Keeps you focused. Reminds me of Sarah, a freelance writer I know. She struggled a lot with procrastination.
A common writer problem.
Totally. She started using her journal, setting daily writing targets, tracking her word count on specific numbered pages. Seeing that progress, even small amounts, gave her a sense of accomplishment. It kept her going.
That feeling of progress is motivating.
Hugely. She even used it to reflect, like after a really good writing day, she'd jot down what worked, time of day, environment, mindset, helped to replicate those successful conditions.
Smart. And what about just feeling completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks? Isn't adding journaling just another task?
It can feel that way, but the idea is simplicity. Focus on just identifying the most critical tasks. Writing them down physically can actually reduce the feeling of overwhelm.
How so?
It forces clarity. Instead of a swirling cloud of must-dos in your head, you have a short, manageable list on paper. And the A5 size helps. It's easy to grab and jot something down quickly. It's not this huge, intimidating thing.
Brings order to the mental chaos.
Precisely.
So we've covered the day-to-day stuff. What about the bigger picture, the long-term benefits of sticking with this?
Well, beyond just ticking off tasks, consistent journaling really hones your time management. You become much more aware of where your time actually goes.
In creativity, does it help there?
I think so. It's a space to explore ideas freely, connect dots, without the sort of structure or limitations of a screen. You can
Right.
doodle, sketch, write sideways.
Yeah, it feels less constrained.
Yeah.
And stress, does it help with that?
Absolutely. In this crazy digital world, having that quiet analog space to just unload your thoughts onto paper, it's incredibly valuable for reducing stress, clearing your head.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned resilience.
Yeah, by tracking what you do and reflecting on it, successes and failures, you learn. You see what works for you, what doesn't. You build resilience by understanding your own patterns and adapting. It boosts self-awareness hugely.
You start seeing the patterns, your strengths, maybe areas to work on.
Exactly. You're essentially creating this physical record of your own growth and thinking.
And that's where the journal quality matters again, right? The 211 pages, the sturdy paper. It's not just a throwaway notepad.
Precisely. It becomes this long-term archive. And think about David, an entrepreneur, a friend. He's used his Lestallion journals for years. Yeah. And he says looking back through them is invaluable. He sees how his decisions played out, learns from past mistakes, appreciates how far he's come. It's a tangible record of his journey.
That's powerful. A physical archive of growth.
It really is. Something digital notes don't always capture in the same way.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the main takeaway for everyone listening?
I think the core idea is that a really good, dedicated journal like the ones Lestallion makes, with thoughtful features like numbered pages, the index, good paper, the pocket, it isn't just nice to have. It can be a serious tool for boosting productivity.
Right. It gives you structure for organizing, a clear space for focusing away from digital noise, and encourages that reflection needed for real growth.
Exactly.
So if you're maybe feeling swamped by digital stuff or just looking for a more, I don't know, mindful way to manage your work and goals, maybe pen and paper in the right kind of journal is worth another look.
Yeah, and maybe the thought to leave you with is this. What part of your day, your workflow, feels a bit out of control right now? Where do you crave more focus? And just consider, how could the simple act of putting pen to paper in a dedicated, well-designed space be that first step towards gaining that control and clarity back, especially now in our super digital age? Something to think about.